What it do, YouTube? MJM for life here, back again bringing you another video. This time it's another Ygopro, set of Ygopro Duels featuring a new deck I made called, well, it's a new deck, but it's not a new concept. It's built based around Vylons, mainly the level 8 synchro monster Vylon Epsilon. So let's just get into it. This is the first battle. It's against a strange artifact deck. He's going first, set 5, so right then I'm thinking, okay, artifacts. What I'm going to do is special summon Solo Windjammer, normal summon Vylon Cube, synchro for the Vylon Epsilon, use Vylon Cube's effect in the graveyard, add the Vylon equip, and then I'm just going to equip Epsilon with a bunch of equips. I'll explain what they do later. So now he's going to go for his trap monsters, which I thought was strange. So I was like, maybe it's not artifacts. But now what he's going to do here is attempt to tribute summon for Caius. Caius effect activates, but unfortunately he scoops on out, and the reason is because he realized that he can't target my Vylon monster or any of my spell and tap cards, thanks to the combination of Vylon Epsilon's effect and the card equipped spell card Vylon Segment. So he just decided to scoop on out of there after that. So let's get into this next duel, which is against Frog Monarchs, I believe. Yep, Frog Monarchs. So he's going first. I lied. He's going to normal summon the Swap Frog, standard Frog play, Swap Frog. Go for Treeborn. I don't know why he didn't bounce back to Swap Frog, but he just leaves it on the field. I'm just going to set the Raigeki Break because my hand's kind of bad. Now he's going to sack for Caius. I'm going to Raigeki Break, pitch the useless Vylon, what was it called? Tetra for my hand. Pop that Caius just because I can. I top deck into a Vylon Cube, which is great, so now I can instant fusion for the Reaper of Nightmare. I'm playing BLS, so that's why I used that monster. Then go for Vylon Cube, activate his effect to search out an equip spell card, equip him with 2 equip spells. He has the Battle Fader, fortunately. I'm going to use Vylon Epsilon's secondary effect, pop a monster on the field, then use the Vylon equip card to search out of the same card a copy of itself and then re-equip it. So now what he does here is he normal summons Valor, and then he does nothing. So first, when I saw that, I thought he was going to creature swap me. I was like, oh shit, creature swap. I kind of just lost. But actually what happened is that I didn't know this, but he had Treacherous Trap Hole. So what his plan was to normal summon Valor, then activate Treacherous Trap Hole, targeting my Epsilon and his Valor. Unfortunately for him, Violent Segment prevents him from even targeting my monster. So he couldn't even activate Treacherous Trap Hole, so then at that point he kind of lost, because if you can't target monsters, the Monarch's effects are kind of useless. So we'll get into this next duel. It is against Zombie player. I believe he's going first again, or who am I going? Yeah, he's going first again. He's going to normal summon Shuten Doji, then set 3, pass his turn. I'm going to draw. My hand is okay. I've got Raigeki Break plus Malicious, so that's good. I'm going to go for Gen X Neutron, search out the Vylon Tetra during my end phase. I'm not going to attack because I really needed that search. He's going to go for Caius, target my monster, which is good. I didn't want him to target my back row, just because I didn't want to activate the Raigeki Break if I didn't have to. So now I'm going to activate it because I didn't really draw into much. Pop just random back row. It turns out to be a Call Haunted. Gonna activate Malicious, then normal summon the Tetra, synchro summon. He's gonna try to Book of Moon me, so I won't be able to equip. But luckily for me, I drew into a Lance at the beginning of his turn. Now I'm gonna activate the Epsilon's effect after equipping him with the Segment. Then use Segment's effects to search out the Vylon. This is Segment. This is Vylon Filament. My bad. You send Filament to search out Segment, then set a Book of Moon. He's going to go for Zombie Master. I'm not even worried, but I do make a misplay here. He's going to go for an Arc Knight. Then he's going to Lance me so that I'm unaffected by quick spells. Now, I thought that if you Book of Moon Arc Knight, its effect wouldn't resolve, so I learned the hard way that isn't the case. But I'm going to search out another Segment during the end phase. Then I'm going to normal summon Gen X Neutron, and I'm going to attack into it just to get rid of that attachment, because I know that it only has 1,000 defense. He's going to Mirror Force me, and unfortunately I have to use Lance on that because I need my end phase search for the Tetra, because I do have Malicious in my graveyard. So next turn I'll be able to go for another Epsilon, and if that back row isn't anything, which it turned out to be an MST, but if it was something else, I really have no choice here. I have to go for this play. I'm going to normal summon the Tetra, synchro summon up for another Vylon Epsilon, use Tetra's effect to equip it to Epsilon. He's going to make the mistake of Space Typhooning a Vylon equip spell card, and all that I'm going to do is just get another search off of that. What he should have done was Space Typhoon the Tetra, if anything, but he didn't do that, and he made a misplay there on his part. So now he's going to try to top deck into a Dark Hole. That Dark Hole is completely useless now because he didn't Space Typhoon my Tetra, and Tetra protects my monster from being destroyed once. So now what I'm going to do, activate Vylon Epsilon's effect, destroy his Arknight, then equip the this card, which I only run one of, which is the Vylon component. And basically this allows me to do piercing damage, so now anything that he top decks, he's probably going to go in defense mode, and I'm still going to be able to do damage to him, even if he has his monsters in defense mode. So Vylon component is really good late game in a situation like this where you know they're going to be setting monsters, and because they can't really do much to your monster, so that's where this card's really good in the late game. That's really why I only run one. So he's gonna set a goblin zombie. He's gonna search out a Mizuki. He's gonna top deck into a pyramid turtle. I top deck into the Vylon material. So basically, I was thinking about just popping the monster, but since I top decked into material, I didn't really need to do that. I can just most typical zombies have low defense anyway. The only one that has relatively high defense, and it's not really that high, is pyramid turtle. So I knew that either way, you were going to lose that turn. So we're getting to the last duel. This is a really good duel against Gadgets, a more meta deck that you're going to see a lot of. I believe I went first. Yep, I'm going first. I have an option for card D, but I'm going to go for Neutrons, so I do have plays in my hand. Solar Windjammer, so I'm going to search out the cube. He's going to go for Gadgets, do the Gadget, the Kage Tokage Gadgets nonsense, which is just pluses all over the place. I'm going to go for that. Search out another Kage Tokage, so he's not losing any hand advantage whatsoever. Going to attack over my Genex Neutron, then set 2 and his turn. Now my turn, I'm going to draw into a Foolish Burial. I don't think I use it. Basically, I had Foolish Burial just to Foolish Malicious. I could have done that, but I decided not to, just to test and see what his back row was. Now I'm going to activate Vylon Epsilon, equip him with the segment, then search out the filament, so that way he can't respond to anything. So if he has a Mirror Force, he won't be able to use it. That's the one problem with Vylon segment, is it doesn't protect you from Mirror Force. So a lot of times I've gone for Vylon segment thinking I'm okay, then they Mirror Force me. V-Prison is not a problem. Mirror Force is, however, a problem. Now here he doesn't have many options, so he's going to have to go for My Stroke, and that tells me that he doesn't have many options. So I'm just going to activate Foolish now, Foolish for Malicious, and then go for start a Spark Dragon, then use the Tetris effect to equip to my Vylon Epsilon. So now he cannot respond to my Vylon Epsilon's attack, and if he does have a Mirror Force and respond to my Spark Dragon's attack, I can protect my Epsilon and protect my Spark Dragon as well. So now he's going to go for something I did not expect, was the Gigante's play, and this card, when it's destroyed by battle, it sends all spell and trap cards to the graveyard. So that did not see that coming, but unfortunately for him, it's kind of minus because I get to search out equips. What he's going to do is crash his Machina Fortress into my Epsilon, and then into my Stardust Dragon, and then pop my Epsilon. Fortunately for him, though, I do top deck into a Vylon Cube, so I'm able to make another Epsilon. So all his efforts were for naught. So I'm gonna search out the component with the cube, and I already have the filament and the segment. So at this point, there's not much he can do to get out of this. I mean, there really isn't much he can do, unless he top decks into another Gigantes. Unfortunately, he does not. He goes into he top decks into a 7-tool. It's completely useless because I don't run any trap. Well, actually, that's not true. I run 2 traps. But at this point, I don't even need them. So that's going to be the duel. Vylon Epsilon, just putting that work in. So those are the duels, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed them. I'm going to come in a few seconds with the deck profile, so stay tuned for that. Okay, guys, so here's the deck profile for the Vylon Sequel deck. I'll go over the cards and then explain them. So first we've got BLS, 2 Tefnuit, 3 Malicious, 2 Solar Windjammer, 3 Genex Neutron, 3 Vylon Cube, 3 Vylon Tetra, 2 Card D, 3 Instant Fusion, 3 Upstart Goblin, 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Book of Moon, 3 Forbidden Lance, 3 Vylon Segment, 1 Vylon Component, 2 Vylon Material, 2 Vylon Filament, and 2 Raigeki Break. So I'll just explain. BLS is BLS, obviously. So basically, we've got light targets, we've got tons of light targets, we've got dark targets being malicious, and then your instant fusion cards. So BLS is definitely possible, so why not? 2 Tefnuit. Tefnuit is an easily summonable 6, and it works with Vylon Tetra. Go drop Tefnuit, normal summon Tetra, go for your Vylon Epsilon. So basically, this deck revolves around Vylon Epsilon. Malicious is just the same as Tefnuit, easily summonable level 6. You can use Foolish Burial, Foolish, and then special summon Malicious from your grave by banishing it, from your deck by banishing the one in your grave, then normal summon Tetra, bam, Vylon Epsilon. Another Solar Windjammer similar to the Tefnuit and Malicious, except it's a 5, and it works with Vylon Cube. So but the difference is that you can go for this on your first turn, which makes it a little bit better. So just drop a Solar Windjammer, normal summon Cube, and then bam, go for your Vylon Epsilon. Now, another thing to note about these Tefnuit and Malicious is that they also work with Cube, but Vylon Material or Vylon Tetra doesn't really work with Solar Windjammer because, I mean, you can go for like a Black Rose or the other Vylon level 7, but they're just not, I wouldn't recommend that unless you absolutely have to. Now, Genex Neutron, just a way to search out your Vylon tuners. If you have, for example, you have Solar Windjammer in your hand, or you've got Malicious, another way to discard it, or you've got Technoid, and you have a Neutron, just normal summon Neutron, search out the one you need, and then after it dies, you can go for your play from there. So Genex Neutron just adds some more consistency to the deck. Vylon Cube, one of your two main tuners. It's a level 3, so again it works with all your monsters, Technoid, Malicious, and Solar Windjammer. Its main effect is that when it's sent to the graveyard, you get to add one equip spell card from your deck to your hand. Sent to your graveyard for a synchro summon, you can add one equip card from your deck to your hand. So basically, you're going to search out one of your Vylon equips. The main equip you want to go for is Vylon Segment, and I'll explain that when I get down to it. So the next monster is Vylon Tetra, again searchable with Genex Neutron. And this card has a key effect is after it's sent to the graveyard for a single summon, kind of like Vylon Prism, you pay 500 life points to equip it to a monster on the field. But this additional effect is if the monster will be destroyed, you can destroy this card instead. So this card protects your Vylon Epsilon from Dark Hole. Cards like Gaga Cowboy, where they try to attack over you, or any card that might attack over you, saves you for that turn, and then allows you to activate this effect to pop that monster on your following turn. So this card is really, really key, especially late game. So then 2 card D, kind of obvious, just add some consistency. If you have a bad hand, you can always card D. A lot of things I like to do is if I open up card D plus Malicious, I'll just card D and then end phase drop Malicious, so I'm ready for next turn. Now for the spells, Instant Fusion, you've got 3 targets, 2 Reaper of Nightmare, and then 1 Camion Wizard. Obviously, Reaper of Nightmare works really well with Vylon Cube. Camion Wizard works well with Genex Neutron, because you can use it to summon Laval Chain. If you don't really need to search during the end phase, you can always just use Laval Chain's effect to drop Malicious to the graveyard. Or it also allows access to Black Rose with Vylon Cube, and the ability to search out and equip spell cards. So all in all, Instant Fusion really good. Triple Upstart, because it just adds more consistency to the deck. Foolish, again, another way to just drop Malicious into the grave. Book of Moon, just a really good chainable spell card, really doesn't need explaining. Forbidden Lance, I was running Triple Space Typhoon at first, because we all know me, I love Triple Space Typhoon, but I found ultimately that Forbidden Lance was just much better, because this deck revolves around just protecting your initial summon. So anything outside of Solemn Warning, or Black Horn of Heaven, you just really can't control that, honestly, so if you run into that, it is a bit unfortunate, but anything other than that, Bottomless, Torrential, you want to protect your monster, especially your Epsilon, from staying on the field, so that's why this card is there over the Space Typhoon. Now for your main equip cards, Vylon Segment, this is the main card, go-to equip card. If you equip it to a Vylon monster, and that monster cannot be targeted by monster effects or trap cards. And all the Vylon spell cards have this effect at the end, where if this face-up card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Vylon spell card from your deck to your hand. So in the video, we saw my opponents misplaying by Space Typhooning this card is because anytime a Vylon equip spell is sent, they always cycle through each other. So segment can search out another segment, or like I did that once. A filament can search out a filament. So they all just search out each other. So like when that guy went for Gigantes destroying my back row, it was kind of minus for him because I got 2 searches out of that. And I was able to thin my deck, and that helped me top deck into a cube for the next turn. So these cards really, really good. They have grid effects as well as they cycle through each other. So the Space Typhoon, it doesn't really even matter if they Space Typhoon it. Vylon component, as I explained in the video, I only run 1 because it's really good in the late game, especially when you know they're going to be setting monsters. It's really good in that aspect. So you don't need 1 is good. 2 Vylon material, just because you boost the monster up by 600. Nothing too special about this card. Just gives you that 600 boost. Makes your monster your 2800 beater, which is already a pretty big monster to get over, especially if it can't be targeted by effects or traps. Makes it even stronger, boosting up to 34. That's pretty good. Oh, another thing to mention about Vylon Segment is this card is really good against the meta. I kind of just breezed over it real quickly. I mean, just think about it. You can't be targeted by monster effects. That's really huge in today's meta game. Like Bear. Cards like Bear, Dragossack, Big Eye, things like that. Caius, like the guy quit because he couldn't target my monster. Like this deck has a really good matchup against Monarchs, because what are Monarchs going to do to you if they can't target you? All right. This card again is your go-to card. It's really, really good against the meta. Then the last card is Raigeki Break, just another discard outlet for Malicious, because I hate drawing into Malicious first turn. You have no way to discard it, so that's why I run 2 card D, Foolish Burial, and this card as well. And it's just a really good chainable card. Now I have Phoenix Wing, Wind Blast here, because you can easily substitute these 2 cards. They have similar They have the same utility. Basically, this card gets over monsters like Dragossath or Zen Mains or something that, or like a Beals, that card that's freaking annoying to deal with. This card gets over Beals, whereas Raigeki Break would not. So they have different utilities. Just depends on your personal preference, but there's no reason why you couldn't substitute Wing Blast for Raigeki Break. So now on to the extra deck. I already explained the fusion monsters. Then this monster, Vylon Alpha, it's a level 9 synchro, so that's what I mentioned earlier, where the level 6 monsters work with Vylon Cube, because you can drop a tap into it, or a special summon Malicious, then go for Cube. Go for this card, Vylon Alpha, and then search out a quick spell card. The problem with this card, one, is a level 9 synchro, but it only has 2200 attack, which doesn't make any sense to me. But it has a decent effect. This card cannot be destroyed by the effects of spell or tap cards, except for equip cards, while it's equipped with an equipped spell card. So it has a decent effect, but I rarely make this. I have it in here just in case because I can make it. Then we've got some rank 8, level 8s. I always say rank 8s now. Crimson Blader, Scrap Dragon, and Stardust Spark Dragon. Just self-explanatory monsters there. We've got rank 7s, level 7s. I did it again. Black Rose Dragon, and then the level 7 Vylon that I alluded to earlier, Vylon Delta. This card has 2800 defense, so it's a good wall to put up. You don't have really much to do first turn, and you constantly get searches during your end phase, kind of like Gen X Neutron, except Gen X Neutron is restricted to only the turn that it's normal summon. For this card, you can consistently search out equip spell cards from your deck during each of your end phases, and it's got 2800 defense, so that's pretty good. So the main monster in your big boss monster of this deck, Vylon Epsilon. This card, while equipped, or equip cards equipped to this card cannot be targeted by cards or effects. So that means they can't Space Typhoon any of your back row. So the only thing that you have to worry about, you would have had to worry about, was Heavy Storm. Since that card is gone, your equipped spell cards are not going anywhere when they're equipped to this card. Except for unless you run into a random Gigantes like I did in that Gadget matchup. But other than that, outside of those random strange occurrences, another one, a meta card would be, what's that card? Malevolent Catastrophe, stuff like that can still destroy your back row, but Space Typhoon, anything like that, monster effects like Caius or Pleiades will not work against your back row, your equipped spell cards. Then its secondary effect, which is really good, is you can send one equipped spell card to your graveyard to target one monster your opponent controls and destroy that target. The great thing about this is that it seems minus inherently, but because the Vylon equipped spells can search when they're sent to the graveyard, you end up going plus off of that because you destroy a monster and then you keep basically the equipped spell that you had before. So it's really, really good in combination with the Vylon equipped spell cards, because you send them to the graveyard, you search out the card, you destroy their monster, then you re-equip them with the card you just sent to the graveyard after searching from your deck, and then you're good to go from there. So this card is really, really good. And you don't see many Vylon decks these days, so I think that I've come up with something that can really handle or hold its own against the meta. As far as the rest of the extra deck, I got Genesis and Volcasaurus, just because you can summon Solar Windjammer and then instant fusion for Reaper of Nightmare, and then go into one of these cards depending on the situation. I really wanted to fit Bouncer in there, or Messier 7, but I just really didn't have room, honestly. I felt like Exciton Knight and the Volvo Chain were just much better, and Overhaul had more utility, because I rarely ran into a situation where I needed one of those cards anyway. So I have, again, as I said, Exciton Knight. Again, self-explanatory card. This card is just stupid sometimes, especially if they don't have a response to it. If they don't stop its summon, this card can just help you so much. And then Lavalval Chain, I explained earlier, just helps out with getting Malicious out of your deck and into the graveyard. So that's going to do it for this deck profile, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you guys try out this deck for yourselves and tell me what you think about it, what changes you would make and all that stuff. But as always, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and I'm out of here. Doofus.